Well, although I no longer celebrate holidays or Christmas or Thanksgiving or any day really, it's still kind of hard to shake away from those who you love that do. So here you see on the table the ingredients for a Thanksgiving stuffed turkey. This is not for me, it's for my daughter Yaja, who lives in New Orleans. I'm in Marble Falls. But when she asked me to prepare it for her, I was really touched, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great time to not only prepare it for her, but also show her how to prepare it for herself in the future, and to share with my sisters and my brothers and my all of my kids and my nieces. I remember Chantel called one holiday for the recipe, so this will be a very good way of sharing. So here we go with the ingredients first. It's called the oyster dressing, uh, and the thing that makes my mama's dressing a little different is that she adds ground meat to hers. Well, I have turkey ground meat, but she used to use regular ground meat. And for those of you who are vegetarians or vegans, you can, guess what? Keep this out. Do everything the same except for adding this, and you still have an oyster dressing, which is the way most people make oyster dressing. So now what I have for my bread, now you can be all the way back to the old school and bake your French bread until it get crispy and crumb it up and all of that kind of good stuff. But my mama didn't and I'm not. So what I have here is a bowl of dry bread with herbs and spices. I have 2 bags of this, and this is a 14 ounce. Okay, Madea always use peppers from, so that's what I buy whenever I can find it. And Madea didn't use this. My mama didn't use this, but I added this a couple of years ago to her recipe, and I liked it. I like the herbs and spices in it, so I buy one of the family size canisters and add this to it. So all of that is in here, all of my dry things, okay? And the next thing that I do is to get this wet, I have 1 pint of oysters. And with those oysters, I pureed them. I put it in the blender and I got it as chopped up as I could. And I added a pint of water. I filled this with water and poured in it. Because I usually don't have enough liquids for my dressing, and I end up at the very end saying, oh, I need a little more liquid, and I might put a little water. Well, this time, that's not going to happen. I added water to the oysters, and I bought 2 things of chicken broth, and I also have actual chicken broth from a turkey I made for my neighbor yesterday, and this is the broth that was from it. So where was I? So we have the dry bread. I showed you what I use, and how am I going to make this bread wet? I'm going to wet it first of all with my oyster dressing, because before I add anything else, I want to make sure it has as much oyster flavor as possible. So from however wet it gets from the oysters will determine how much broth I will use. Okay, hopefully no water. So once I put my broth in it, my oysters and my broth, I'm going to use this first though. Then I'll move to this to get it nice and moist. I will take this ground meat and use my fingers and yummy, 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 and just mix it all up in there until it feels all mushy and gushy. And that's how I get that mixed in. I'll come over here and take my seasonings, which I pre-cut. Now this is more than what I usually use, because right here what I have is seasoning cut up for Yaja's oyster dressing and also for Jesse's cornbread dressing. He doesn't like to tell me he doesn't like my oyster dressing, but I don't think he likes it. He claims it gives him acid reflux. Don't believe him. But anyway, to patronize him, I'm making him a cornbread dressing and putting my feelings on the shelf, okay? So anyway, so what I would use for this amount of bread would be maybe 3 of these green onions, nice fat green onions, 3 or 4 of these, 1 bell pepper, maybe 3 or 4 onions. Uh, Different colors would be better. My mama didn't use that. Didn't worry about the colors of the onion, but I've been learning a little more about colors. And I learned that the darker the color of any fruit or vegetable, the healthier it is. About 3 stalks of celery. Is that all? Oh, and something I didn't used to do, but I do put, I've found over the last few years, is garlic. See, these are nice sized garlic cloves. I used 4 of these. So now that all of that is already pre-cut right here. So I'm gonna have my bread wet with my juices if needed. Mix in my ground meat, yummy, 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 yum. Then mix in my seasoning, yummy, 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 yum. All with that hand stuff. So make sure you might wash your hands 101 times doing this here. And when I get that all mixed up really good, I go to the hard part. Oh, excuse my trash can. Here's the hard part. I'm going to have to fry out maybe 3 hot spoons at a time. So, and you fry it until it tastes good. That's the only way I know how to say. You know, how long do I fry it? I don't know how to say how long, but what I do, I fry 3 or 4 tablespoons and pot spoons, I'm sorry. And I stir it and I scrape the bottom because it's going to stick for sure. So you can use butter or olive oil with all of your choice to make sure it doesn't stick. And with using the turkey ground meat, you need a little more oil because there's no oil in this. As if not, if you're using the regular ground meat, you don't need as much oil to keep it from sticking. So now once you have it in that frying pan and you're browning it, you're stirring it, you're frying it until it tastes good. How long? I don't know. Until it tastes good. If you don't fry it enough, if it doesn't taste good enough from you frying it, when you put it in that turkey and cook it, it will taste like dog food. Telling you the truth. I've done it. I said, my God, how much did this? All of this stirring and browning. And I mean, sometimes I even have to clean the pan and start over again to get some more in there because it has to fry a certain amount of time to taste the way Madea made it taste. So that is basically it. You know, you seasonal, oh, probably seasonal, salt, season. I like seasonal now. Some people don't like seasonal. I love the taste of seasonal. And guess what? This is a once a year type thing. So here, all of my other little herbs and spices that I use uh, to add a little more flavor. But anyway, so whatever spices and things that you use that can make it taste a little better or that's just something that you're used to, feel free to use it, okay? It will not hurt. So anyway, that is it. Mixing all of that up, frying it until it tastes good, let it cool off some, and then you'll be ready to stuff your turkey. So to my kids, to my sisters, to my brothers, to my world, I love you and I hope you enjoy. I'll come back.